I'm Mark.
And I'm Alex.
And this is Comics Are Awesome, brought to you by Alter Ego Comics, West Central Ohio's one and only and best comic store.
Sounds good to me.
There we go. What we do, if you're just listening to us for the first time, is each week we read a bunch of new comics, and we come back and report on the ones that we like the best.
The ones that are awesome.
The ones that are indeed awesome. So this week, I'm going to kick things off with Avengers No. 9, written by Jason Aaron, artwork by David Marquez, and man, this hit me in the feels. I've been reading comics for a very long time, and one of the Avengers runs that I enjoyed the most was Roger Stern and John Buscema's run in the late 80s. I want to say like 87, 88. And at that time, Captain America was pushing for Namor to join the team, and Namor was still kind of a douche. He's always been a douche. So
he's been pretty douchey, yeah.
Yes. And, you know, you had people on the team that didn't want him there, and some people that did want him there. And actually, one of the characters, and Jason Aaron has to be kind of referencing this story, because one of the characters that's in that storyline is Stingray, who is in this issue of the Avengers as well. So this features Namor, who has finally said enough is enough with the surface world and is assembling a team of deep sea defenders to take on the surface world. So we've got some great undersea action, a surprising death in here, and
it was a gruesome one too.
Yeah, I kind of am glad that they're realizing Marvel doesn't need to keep every single creation that's ever been.
It's good to have,
and it works in the story.
Yeah, it's significant to it. It's not just, oh, well, there's this random person that we just introduced, and now he's gone.
It's a person with history in the Marvel Universe. So the Avengers are on an undersea adventure. I love the interaction between these characters. It is a mix of old and new, and really Aaron does a great job telling the story, but Marquez does an amazing job with the artwork as well. I love this team on here. I hope that they stay a team for a very long time. I think Ed McGuinness is coming back for a little bit, but for me, David Marquez is my Avengers artist. So lots of action, lots of drama, some humor, and kind of ending on not really a cliffhanger, but ending with a foreboding sense of doom.
It's almost like ending with the Act 1 beginning.
Yeah, and Aaron tells these massive stories, as you know if you've ever read his Mighty Thor, and even in Star Wars he was telling big stories. Now the next issue of Avengers is number 700, so I don't know if we're going to see the continuation of the Namor storyline, but actually it looks like, if you read the last page, the Avengers are going to have their hands full, and I'm ready for it. So this was great.
It was good, yeah. My first pick is The Amazing Spider-Man number 7, legacy numbering 808. It is part 2 of, I guess, what do they call it? They call it a Trivial Pursuit part 2. I call it a Date Night with Boomerang, where Peter goes out with Boomerang. I forget what his actual name is.
Is it Fred or George?
I think it's Fred.
Something?
I think it's Fred. Because they are now roomies, if you haven't been following too closely. And, of course, supervillain or reformed supervillain teaming up with Peter. It's really fun. It takes place in the bar with no name, which is supervillain bar that anyone can come as long as you don't attack each other, you don't bring your weapons, and, of course, bad guys follow that rule. But, anyway, they come out for trivia night where it's a trivia about Spider-Man of Peter Parker might have an inside edge on that, surprisingly. But of course, chaos ensues, and I really like it because it again throws back to Spencer writing Superior Foes. It has Boomerang and his Sinister Six, which they go into like, no, that wasn't the real Sinister Six, and it's fun back and forth with that. And it turns out Peter ends up making friends with Fred for now until who knows when.
Until Fred finds out Peter is Spider-Man. I mean, that doesn't happen in this issue, but
if it happens, which it should, I would think.
Maybe.
Who knows? But yeah, there's a whole bunch of, I would say, D-list villains that are in it.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, if you're a villain that's any good, you're not just sitting at a bar. You have your own alcohol, so you don't need to.
It's the high end stuff,
right? It's the high end stuff. You don't need to go into bar downtown New York or wherever and do whatever. But yeah, it was fun. I've enjoyed most of this whole series by Spencer since he took over from Slott, and it's interesting to see where they're going next. There's a backstory with Kingpin that's going on, and a return of another surprise villain.
Did you know who that was? Because I don't know who it is.
I think I know who it was, but I don't want to give away spoilers.
Okay. I have no idea who the surprise villain is.
I think I know who it is, but I don't know for sure. Yeah. It looks like someone that may have died and come back.
We'll talk about it off air.
Yeah, but yeah, it was fun. It was a good read. Enjoyed the whole run, and looking forward to more of them.
Superman number 4, next on my list. This is one of the shiny foil covers that DC is doing for the month of October. So this is Brian Michael Bendis continuing to write some really, really good Superman stuff. Artwork by Ivan Reis, and they are just an unstoppable team on this book. Several things I liked about this issue. Number 1, it is very fast-paced. It's action-packed. There's so much to look at on every page. Reese is doing the lion's share of the work here with the art. Bendis is telling a great story. In fact, there's a really great couple of pages between that Superman is interacting with his son, John, and that was really, really cool. But the artwork in here is phenomenal. One of the other things that makes the artwork so great is DC has upgraded their paper stock. They've gone to... I'm not a paper expert, but I really feel like the paper absorbs the colors very well. It's not
high gloss.
It's not a glossy paper. It's more of a matte. I have no idea don't even listen to me when I'm talking about paper.
Call Dunder Mifflin if you have questions on paper.
Call Dwight. He has the answers. But I've noticed this for the last several months with DC. They really have upgraded their paper stock, and I think it makes the storytelling better. Noticed that last week with the Witching Hour, and or I should say it makes reading the comic more enjoyable. Let me put it that way. You can't make a bad story good with paper, but you can make a reading experience more enjoyable with quality paper.
It feels like a classic comic book instead of the new magazine style that a lot of people go with.
Yep. So Superman continues to be great. I know some people are kind of wishy-washy on it, but I think that Bendis is crafting a large tale through Superman and through Action Comics, and he got a little bit of a slow start with Man of Steel, but I have really enjoyed both Action and Superman since Bendis took over.
Next up is continuing the Spider episode, I guess we're going with.
Spider Love.
Spider Love is Spider-Geddon number 1, written by Christos Gage, and I guess consulted by Dan Slott.
It says based on a story, so I guess they're referencing Spider-Verse as the springboard into Spider-Geddon.
I mean, a lot has happened between them, but not enough that it really matters. Yeah. This is all the spiders.
Art is by Jorge Molina, by the way.
Yes. All the spiders, Spider-Men's, Spider people,
women too.
And women.
All the spider people.
All the spider totems
there you go.
From Spider-Verse are back together. Something has brought them back to force, and because before it left off with them monitoring the bad guys from Spider-Verse. I forget what they're called. The 8 spiders or something. I don't know.
I'm gonna find it because it's bothering me.
But they come back, and it starts with everyone starting to fight the Superior Octopus, Otto Octavius, because
the Inheritors.
The Inheritors are
Moreland and the Inheritors. That sounds like a good band name.
I would rock out to that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the Spider team is trying to get together and stop Otto because he procured a new cloning system that is both from the Spider or the clone
Miles Warren, the Jackal.
The Jackal, yes,
but also using
Clone Conspiracy from that storyline and the cloning methods that they were using in the Spider-Verse.
Inheritor technology.
So he's like, "Oh, I'll just do all this and I'll be immortal because I'll keep creating new bodies when I die." And of course,
what a dolt!
What a dolt indeed. So of course, stuff goes sideways with that. He's like, "No, I'm fine. I'm better than everyone. Nothing's wrong." They're like, "Oh yeah, well check out this," and oh, I screwed up. And there was going back to Avengers. There are some pretty important deaths. I would say important deaths that happen at the end of this.
Yeah. Maybe more important than the one in Avengers.
Possibly
several people.
I mean, yeah.
But yeah, it's a surprise that there are a couple members of the extended Spider family that don't survive Spider-Geddon issue 1.
So who knows what else is going to come out with that?
I don't know. Maybe this is clearing the board of spider totems.
Could
the
be.
way X-Men is doing. They're the exterminators.
Yeah.
Extermination.
Extermination, yeah. So, this is, again, part 1, really fun. If you like Spider-Man, even if you're slightly interested in Spider-Man with what's going on with all the different, whoever your favorite Spider is, they are going to be in the series.
Yes, including Peter Porker.
One
of the other, excuse me, actually, you didn't talk about your pick of the week, so I'll talk about it briefly.
Okay,
It'll tie in with...
well, Spider-Man was my second pick of the week since my first pick is gone.
And we just need to keep it brief because I'm running out of time. I have to go to family stuff. But Captain America #4 is next on my list, and it features an excellent cover by Alex Ross. I should say that Alex Ross is doing covers for many Marvel titles, including Alex's original pick of the week, Immortal Hulk #7.
7? I think it's 7.
Yeah, we sold out, so he doesn't have it in front of him. But that is the Hulk versus the Avengers in a... what was your word?
No holds barred, fun fight.
It is not a fun fight, Alex.
I had fun with it, and they were fighting.
It is a pretty hardcore fight that ends in a very surprising way in Immortal Hulk #7. So I think you should check it out.
Yeah, it was fun
if you can find it.
Yeah.
Captain America 4 continues the amazing, excellent story by Ta-Nehisi Coates and Leinil Francis Yu, where there's kind of unfortunately, another hidden agenda within some members of the government. I guess this happens in every Captain America issue.
Anymore, yeah.
They've captured Sharon Carter, and Cap is trying to get her out. I'm trying to remember what country they're in. I think they're in Russia. And last issue, Black Panther and the head of his royal guard helped Cap get into airspace that he couldn't get into because Cap's kind of on the outs with the U.S. government thanks to Secret Empire and Cap, or at least a version of Cap being the leader of Hydra. Cap is kicking some serious butt in this issue, and then he takes on a familiar Cap foe, the Taskmaster. I'll go ahead and spoil it. It's not a huge surprise, but I think Taskmaster is most associated with Captain America as a villain because of the shield, but he's been in Spider-Man recently, and it depends on the book. Like in Spider-Man, he was written the way Nick Spencer writes villains sometimes, which was kind of bumbling, and he was partnered up with, I don't remember who he was partnered up with.
Black Ant?
Yes, Black Ant, which is another ex-con or ex-SHIELD agent that got the Ant-Man formula.
And he was in Hydra also. Yes. They're Hydra buddies.
Yeah, they're Hydra buddies. But Taskmaster is dark and brutal in this series, in this issue, which is kind of the way I like my Taskmaster. So, the big bad that was previewed at the end, I think, of the Free Comic Book Day issue, or maybe issue #1, stands revealed again. It is Selene, the mutant vampire, who has been an X-Men villain. Actually, she was the Black Queen during the Dark Phoenix saga. So, Coates is really mining Marvel history here and bringing in a lot of characters that, if you're new to comics, you'll be fine. You'll figure it out. He walks you through great explanations of who they are. If you're a longtime comic reader, you will appreciate the level of research and love and care that's going into several Marvel titles right now, including Captain America. So Cap is always at the top of my list. This new run, though, which is legacy number 708, is really top-notch. Every issue has been outstanding.
And my final pick is original graphic novel.
It is an original graphic novel.
By Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. My heroes have always been junkies. Warning, it involves drugs. So it follows this girl that's in a rehab center that has taken, it seems, all sorts of known substances to man, and except for a couple of which, like, oh, I want to try that, but it's on my list. Anyway, I really like it because her history revolves around a lot of rock stars and stuff, and all musicians are always better when they're high. As soon as they go,
is this a statement, or is that what?
It's what she says. It's what she says. They're always better when they're high.
Aren't you a musician?
Former, ish.
Are you high?
No, I'm not. Okay. That's why I'm not playing music right now. But anyway, so she, relates a whole bunch of her story to different musicians based on different times of her life, and I kind of want to go on a web service that maybe Spotify and listen to like everything she references. Like, oh, this band here was that instrument and this song and all sorts of fun stuff. It would be a really cool playlist to listen to while reading it. I think. Just
so is it actual bands? It's like known bands.
Yeah, it is actual bands that is referenced in here with specific songs and everything. I think it would just be really fun to listen to while reading it because I thought that'd be just a fun extra element to it. But it's also a pretty story. It's kind of watercolory. But yeah, then there is a twist in
It's
it.
the twist.
The twist is you need to read it.
Yes.
To find out.
Don't give us the twist. I haven't read it yet. So.
A spoiler-free episode. But it's a nice little junkie story, but there's more to it than that. And, it's like, I really like this person. Then you find out, maybe I shouldn't. They're not so great after all. But yeah, it was a fun read. A whole bunch of fun stuff.
That's the beauty of Brubaker and Phillips, for those of you that have been following them. This takes place within the criminal universe, and there will be a new monthly criminal series starting, I believe, after the first of the year. But, they did The Fade Out, they did Kill or Be Killed. Really, Ed Brubaker is the master of noir crime and dark, seedy tales that make you feel for the main characters. So,
and one thing to note, I haven't read any of the criminal stuff, and I read this, jumped into it, and it's fully self-contained. You don't need to worry about anything before or after if you don't want to.
It's kind of like I don't want to say an Easter egg, but it's a bonus that the people that are in the know when it comes to Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips will know that this takes place within the world of criminal, and maybe this will spur you to read criminal.
I'm definitely interested in that.
Because each one is excellent. So this is an original graphic novel, never available in single issues, issued as a hardcover, and mine is sitting at home. I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but I'm really looking forward to it. It was a very strong week for comics. We just touched on a few of the comics that were awesome, but what did you think? What did you like? Let us know in the comments. Or shoot us in email. You can email mark@alteregocomics.com. It's Mark with a C. And maybe we'll read your letter on the air. Maybe we'll start doing that.
Ooh.
Yeah. So if you enjoyed this week's episode, please like, comment, and share, whether you're consuming this content on YouTube or your favorite podcast service. We appreciate all the likes and reviews and comments and shares.
And subscribe.
And subscribe, so you're kept in the loop when we add a new episode, since we've been kind of hit or miss over the last few weeks. You'll find out if you subscribe. But we do appreciate you watching. We hope you go out and pick up some comics that are awesome at your local comic shop, and we'll see you again real soon.